Hello, and welcome back once again to Infinite Jeff, the project where I, Jeff, read the book Infinite Jest, one page at a time, one day at a time, put it up on the YouTubes for all to hear. That includes you. And just know I'm doing it for me. I appreciate your patronage, but I'm doing it because I need to do it. It's a drive. I feel driven. All right. But anyway, we are on to page 194 of this book, Infinite Jest. So here we go. Defunct Enfield Marine stays solvent by maintaining several smaller buildings on the complex's grounds. Building the size of like prosperous homes, which used to house VA doctors and support staff, and leasing them to different state-related health agencies and services. Each building has a unit number that increases with the unit's distance from the defunct hospital and with its proximity, along a rutted cement roadlet that extends back from the hospital's parking lot to a steep ravine that overlooks a particularly unpleasant part of Brighton, Massachusetts' Commonwealth Avenue and its Green Line train tracks. Unit number 1, right by the lot in the hospital's afternoon shadow, is leased by some agency that seems to employ only guys who wear turtlenecks. The place counsels wide-eyed Vietnam vets for certain very delayed stress disorders and dispenses various pacifying medications. Unit number 2, right next door, is a methadone clinic overseen by the same Massachusetts Division of Substance Abuse Services that licenses Ennet House. Customers for the services of units number 1 and 2 arrive around sunup and form long lines. The customers for unit number 1 tend to congregate in like-minded groups of 3 or 4 and gesture a lot and look wild-eyed and generally pissed off in some broad geopolitical way. The customers for the methadone clinic tend to arrive looking even angrier, as a rule, and their early morning eyes tend to bulge and flutter like the eyes of the choked. But they do not congregate, rather stand or lean along number 2's long walkway's railing. Arms crossed, alone, brooding, solo acts, standoffish, 50 or 60 people all managing to form a line on a narrow walkway, waiting for the same building to unlock its narrow front door, and yet still managing to appear alone and standoffish is a strange sight. And if Don Gately had ever once seen a ballet, he would, as an Ennet House resident, from his sun-up smoking station on the fire escape outside of the 5-man bedroom upstairs, have seen the movements and postures necessary to maintain this isolation in union as balletic. The other big differences between units number 1 and 2 is that the customers of number 2 leave the building deeply changed, their eyes not only back in their heads, but peaceful, if a bit glazed, but anyway, in general, just way better put together than when they arrived. While number 1's wide-eyed patrons tend to exit number 1 looking even more stressed and historically aggrieved than when they went in. When Don Gately was in the very early part of his Ennet House residency, he almost got discharged for teaming up with a bad news methadone addict from New Bedford and sneaking out after curfew across the EMPHH complex in the middle of the night to attach a big sign on the narrow front door of Unit Number 2's methadone clinic. The sign said, "Closed until further notice by order of Commonwealth of Massachusetts." The first staffer at the methadone clinic doesn't get there to open up until 800 hours, and yet it's been mentioned how number 2's customers... That was page 194 of this book, Infinite Jest. Yeah, so, good night.